writing a check, but you're actually able to go there and do it. You're actually able to see what really happens with the dollars that you invest.
Welcome, everyone, to the Driving Vision podcast brought to you by the Zeigler Auto Group. And here with me, Auto Group Director of Talent Development, Mike Van Ryn. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, thanks, Sam.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, like it if you do, and leave a comment. On September 14th, 2023, we'll join the 41st annual Drive for Life Charity Gala with our annual red carpet live stream at the Radisson Hotel in Kalamazoo, Michigan. We hope you'll join us then. As we did last year, until that September night, we look forward to featuring donors, charities, and the causes they support here on the Driving Vision podcast. For the second Drive for Life feature episode, we turn to benefiting charity First Day Shoe Fund. Hey, everybody, welcome to the special edition of the Driving Vision podcast, Future of Zag today. With us today, actually, so we're here in studio, which we always don't get to do. And Maggie, first time you're with us here in studio, is director of the First Day Shoe Fund, Maggie Hesketh. Welcome, Maggie.
Thank you for having me here.
And by the way, you're back. This is your second time on the show, so we're excited to be able to interview you. Also with us from Zeigler Auto Group, Chief of Staff, Matt Thomas. Matt,
Yeah, it's great to be back again. Absolutely.
So our purpose in being here today is to talk about First Day Shoe Fund and all the great things that you're doing in the world. So last we talked, you described this incredible effort here in Kalamazoo and across the region to help kids get shoes. What are you up to now? Are you still doing that?
Yes, we're still doing shoes, lots and lots of shoes. So our mission is to provide a brand new pair of athletic shoes to any elementary school student who attends a public school in Kalamazoo County. So we serve 48 different schools across all the education districts in the county.
That is awesome. What a great mission that is. You don't ever run out of need, right? There's always need for more shoes.
No,
right?
Sadly not. And our need is growing.
And it's growing.
Yeah.
So last year we talked, you were in a car, we were somewhere else. We didn't do it live because it was kind of tail end of the COVID world. Has your ability to serve increased as we've come out of COVID?
For sure, yes. So last year I spoke to you and I was sitting in my car at Millerwood Elementary in Kalamazoo, right in the middle of fitting the shoes. So I stopped fitting shoes, ran to my car, spoke to you, went back in. Yeah. And last year was the first year since 2019 that we were able to actually go into the schools with volunteers and help the kids try on the shoes themselves.
And as you described that, that's an important part of the process, right? So anybody can collect money and just give it to a school and say, hey, buy shoes. Anybody can just go buy a bunch of shoes. In fact, I think our call to action for our friends on the Driving Vision podcast, if you have a connection to Nike or Adidas or any shoe manufacturer, we need that connection, right? Because it'd be great for you not to have to worry about that as much. Because the cool part about what you do is that moment, that connection that's created as you gift those shoes to that kid. Tell us about what that's like.
Yeah. So we do, we take the shoes, we pack up a pair of shoes for each child. So Bombas, who are a sock manufacturer, donate as many pairs of socks as we have shoes. So we choose a pair of shoes for each child. So families go online or they can order with a paper order form and they can say almost exactly what they want. So they can say, you know, my child's in 5th grade at Woods Lake and he needs a men's size 9 Velcro traditional colored pair of shoes. So we pick a pair of shoes for them at the warehouse. We pack them up with a pair of socks. 2 men in a truck come and take them all away, and they deliver them all over the county to every school. And then we go in with these massive groups of volunteers, and we help the kids try on their shoes. And that is really the different part of our program. You get to directly make sure they fit, make sure they love them, make sure they're going to work for them. Because even though caregivers might order a size 10, they might not fit.
They may not know.
They may not know.
As we know with kids too, by the way, 1 minute they can be a 10 and then 2 months later they can be a 13, right?
Yeah, that's my child. Yeah, for sure. So we get to go in and try them on. And sometimes what we chose, they don't love or they don't quite fit. And so myself and my colleague Gloria, who's our program coordinator, we travel with about 200 or 300 pairs of shoes in our cars.
Oh, wow.
So we take them in with us. And if the kids' shoes don't fit, then we swap them out for something that does.
That's incredible. So Matt Thomas, you were able to go have this experience. Talk to us about what it's like fitting these kids for the shoes and what that's like to give that kind of service.
Yeah, that to me was the greatest part because it was the ability to see the smiles on the faces of the students. And like you said, Maggie said, there were a couple that, hey, didn't really like this particular feel on it. No problem. Just went over to the bag, picked out a couple, showed them, and we were able to resize them or change a color on it. And, just the smile, the radiance of them being able to have their shoes, a brand new pair of shoes, and put it on them was just, it was just one of those moments you just don't forget, right? And the other thing that was really cool too is the fact that, they were just blown away by how easy it was, and it was just smooth, and we just took them out, and it was so quiet. I mean, it was private. And the whole setup that Maggie and Gloria did, that Gloria was with us that day, it was so quiet, and they came in, they fitted, they went back out, nobody knew it. So it was really, it was secretive enough where they weren't getting exposed, which was really nice too. But the smiles was all about. I mean, child after child, student after student, just smiling, and our team was having so much fun. We were having a great time. So I would recommend everybody should volunteer to do it, because it was well worth it. It was a great day for us.
So that strikes me as an interesting element of this whole project, as you talk about, it's kind of confidential, but it respects that individual's, it respects them as a person. It keeps their dignity.
Correct.
As they're being served, and yet lights them up with a gift that really can benefit them. I mean, people need a pair of shoes, right?
Yeah.
So how did you come up with this idea of fitting? Because that to me is a big part of this.
I did not.
No?
I'm going
Okay.
to give that to the founder. There's a lovely lady in Kalamazoo called Valerie who founded it in 2006. And fitting them was the fundamental part. So when it first founded, she would fit them at summer school, just at KPS, just kindergarten through second grade. So the kids that were at summer school would have them fitted in August, which is why we called First Day Shoe Fund, because they would have them for the first day of school.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah.
That's not a thing anymore, because she started with 2 schools and 300 kids, and we now serve 48 schools and about 6,000 children.
Oh.
So it's a bit tricky to get them for the first day, but we get them to them as soon as we can in the fall. What you were saying about the privacy aspect, like, we buy all our shoes. I buy every single pair myself. So this year so far, I bought about 8,500 pairs of shoes.
Wow.
And we try really hard to make them all different. So much as I'd love Reebok or Nike or Adidas to come give me shoes, I don't want 10,000 pairs that match.
Yeah, you're not looking for a corporate sponsor to have all the same shoes.
No, we have to buy 10-ish pairs of each style of shoe, so that nobody needs to know they came from us. So if a kid wants to tell their friends where they came from, they can. And if they don't want to tell them, they don't have to. And no one would ever know.
Oh, that's
Yeah, they were all unique. Every pair was different. There was not a pair that matched that was the same all throughout the day when we were there fitting. You're right about that.
Maggie, that's got to be an incredible challenge. How many pairs of shoes again?
About 8,500.
It would be fine saying, hey, give me 8,500, name a brand, 8,500, and getting variety and making it personal and unique. How on earth do you coordinate all that?
I buy them all.
It's insane. You do it yourself.
Yeah, I buy them all myself. We don't have a supplier currently that will sell us shoes wholesale. So I go online on different websites and I see what's on sale that day. And for people that don't buy 8,500 pairs of shoes, shoe prices change every day.
Really?
Especially on some of the bigger online stores, which I will not mention their names. Some days you go on and the black pair and the gray pair are $60, but the red pair are $15. So I buy the red pairs. And then a week later, something else will be $15. And you just have to go on every day and see what's on sale.
So to our buying audience, not to create competition for you, but if you're a parent going out needing to buy shoes for their kids, what's a few tips that are helpful? I guess shop a lot, because it does change a lot, right?
It does. Yeah. Use some of the online websites, some of the online department stores, especially ones I buy a lot from, really department stores down south that we don't have up here, but they'll ship them to me for free. I wish lots of department stores didn't use so much shipping material, but we spend most of our time trying to get rid of the recycling. Unpacking. But yeah, I literally Google every day, kids sneakers, women's sneakers, see what's on sale, see who has a good coupon code.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you ever play in the high end of it? So I know kids in my neighborhood, my son included, that will actually collect those Nike collectibles and some of the others. You're not playing that game, are you?
I wish we could. We have kids. We do have to tell, especially the older 4th and 5th graders when they come in. We don't have Jordans. We don't have Air Force. We don't have the shoes they really would love. And, I can't afford $200 pairs of shoes.
No.
But my average price currently is $17.50 a pair, but I'm only buying brand name shoes. When we first started, in order to keep costs down in early 2000s, they would buy a lot of Walmart, Payless, no brand name shoes. And we talked about serving with dignity. And one way of serving with dignity is giving the kids something they want.
Yeah.
So they look like their peers. It helps their confidence. So we've moved away from buying no name brand shoes. And so now we only buy nice shoes. And my logic is if I wouldn't put my kids in them, I'm not putting someone else's kids
That's
in them.
beautiful. That is beautiful. That is neat. So any interesting stories of gifting these shoes this past year that strike you as standing out since we last talked?
For sure. So since we last talked, we talked at Millwood.
Yeah.
And a couple of days later, I was at Woodward, which is another elementary school, and they have an early childhood special education class for children with additional needs. And there was one little boy who I could not get a pair of shoes on his feet because he wore AFOs, which are like leg braces to help his walking.
Right.
And when you have those on your feet, you can't bend your feet. So nothing I did could get him into a pair of shoes, which I did not like the feeling that he was the one kid in the class that went home without shoes.
Yeah.
So over the winter, I spent some time looking for accessible shoes, and I should have bought some with me because they're super cool. And we found a manufacturer called Billy Shoes, and they're these special shoes that look a bit like high tops, but they do make them in regular shoes, and they zip all the way down and all the way around.
Oh, so they
zip, you put your foot in them, you zip them back up. And so we were very excited to find these. They're about 4 times the price of the regular shoes I buy, but we decided that it's really important to us that we're inclusive of all the kids that are out there.
Yeah.
And so we started buying those. And so our big improvement for this year is that as well as doing shoes in the fall, we went back to 10 schools in March. So 10 of the schools in the county that have the highest need, we went back in March and did a pilot spring distribution to see if that's something that kids need. It is clearly.
Yeah.
Beaver Hill, there was a fabulous kid in 5th grade who will now be going to middle school. And he was our first recipient of one of these pairs of Billy shoes.
That's cool.
So I went and measured him because you have to measure them very carefully. It's very technical. And I asked him what he wanted. He wanted red shoes. So I ordered him red shoes. And he was and they are the first shoes ever he's been able to put on by himself.
Wow.
And we watched him zip them up. And myself and the site coordinator had to turn around because we both cried.
Oh.
And then every day since then, he just left 5th grade now, he would tell the teacher, look at my shoes every day for 3 months. And being able to give a kid the independence of being able to put on their own shoes, which we all take for granted, is one of those things that I think is just amazing.
That's beautiful. So he had never worn, what had he done for shoes prior to that?
He would wear regular shoes, but sizes bigger.
Just too big.
So much too big. And he couldn't do the Velcro and he couldn't tie them up.
Yeah.
He had cerebral palsy. And so he needed something that was accessible to him. So if anyone goes on our Facebook page, there's actually a video of him zipping them up. No faces, just his head. Yeah. But to show how accessible they are for kids in our community that need something different.
What does that mean to you and the other volunteers that were there in that moment when he zipped those up for the first time?
It was just me and the teacher.
Yeah.
Both it's a fabulous thing to see. And we've only fitted 3 pairs so far in our spring pilot. We're anticipating fitting somewhere between 50 and 100 pairs in the fall.
Wow.
So we'll order each pair. We go out, measure each child individually, order each pair specially for each child. So
what a neat example of finding a need and not only serving that need as you have. You kind of took this on, someone started it and you've kind of made it bigger, but then you've continued to innovate to find continuous ways to improve that. And then given others the opportunity, as I talked to Matt and I talked to other members of our team, it's meant a ton to them, Matt, right?
Oh, yeah.
There were other people from our team that went. Tell a little bit about the other Zeigler team members that were there.
I think the same thing. I mean, when we first of all were approached that we could actually volunteer for this, we were blown away, and it was a 2-second conversation and everybody was in. And then we just unpacked that whole day and we're just talking about it and saying how nice it is. It's not only that you're writing a check, but you're actually able to go there and do it. You're actually able to see what really happens with the dollars that you invest. And it's going to change the lives of those individuals, right? And I know, like I said, for me, it would have made a huge difference on me when I was growing up because we just couldn't afford to get new shoes every year. So we would have been one of those families that would have benefited from it for sure. And so I know, like every year, I'm going to do that every year because it makes a huge difference. And our entire team was blown away. And again, couldn't stop talking about the smiles, the laughter, and even for the ones that were like, hey, could I get a different color? Or just to try and to make sure that we were doing everything we could to accommodate and seeing the whole setup behind it to make sure that you had extra shoes. And I'm telling you, all the students were blown away. And it was amazing to me is there is a bigger need. There were a lot more kids as you walk through the school where you're like, they could use another pair of shoes. And so there's a need out there. So if you're listening to this podcast I would highly recommend that you take the opportunity to become a sponsor and become a partner in the First Day Shoe Fund, because we've seen it real life. And being at the open house and hearing some more stories again of people that were impacted and families, it was really beneficial. And you're super lean. So every dollar is 100% impactful to the First Day Shoe Fund. So if you're listening and you're a local organization, or maybe you're somewhere across the United States, I would tell you, get a hold of Maggie, get a hold of them, because they could use those extra dollars for sure.
So as you mentioned, Drive for Life, you're a big benefactor of the Drive for Life charity, 100% of the dollars. So every single dollar that goes to Drive for Life comes straight to charities such as yourself. You're one of the primary benefactors of Drive for Life. So we're grateful to have you here back again. So obviously contribute by attending Drive for Life, by auctioning on the items, but then also, where can people go to find out more about First Day Shoe Fund?
For sure. They can go check out our website, which is literally firstdayshoefund.org. It is just about to go through an update. We have our new marketing chair and our website design. We're just about to overhaul it.
Nice.
Which will be nice, because get new pictures, get some new information out there. And also follow us on social media. Okay. That's where most of our photos and our videos and our information goes, is straight to our Facebook page. I'm not so good with Instagram yet. It's not my thing, but I try. And then they can just contact me directly.
Okay.
They can always call us or email us. We literally have a staff of 2.
Wow.
So they're always going to get somebody if they call us.
I'm just astounded. 6,000 shoes, but with so few helpers. I mean, you really do a hero's work. So what's the toughest shoe to find this past year? Is there a size that has just been a terrible, difficult challenge for you to find?
Yeah, last year it was boys size 4.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Okay.
It's nice looking, not crazy expensive, larger women's shoes.
Really?
Yeah, so you can buy them if you want to spend $100.
Oh.
But I can't spend $100. I don't even spend $100 on my own shoes.
Yeah.
And so finding the bigger shoes for the girls in 4th and 5th grade who really want something particular is harder. Sometimes you can find all the pink, but they don't want pink, or only gray, and they want something else. And so the smaller shoes are super cute, and as they get bigger, they're not so cute.
Yeah.
But the kids are still the same age.
Yes.
So that's probably, the biggest struggle. But we have some good manufacturers that we can find fairly easily online. So.
Yeah. What's the biggest pair of shoes you bought this year?
Men's 14.
Men's 14.
Smallest one is a girl's size 5, and the biggest one is a men's size 14.
14.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a big shoe for a kid that age.
That is a
awesome.
big shoe. We don't carry many of them.
Yeah.
But we do carry some. And then this year we've been focusing on buying more wide shoes. About 20% of all requests are for wide shoes, which still astounds me too.
Yeah.
And so they're much harder to buy. Not every shoe manufacturer makes wide shoes.
Oh.
Only a few of them, and they're really expensive. So this year we've been working on New Balance makes some really nice wide shoes, and I managed to find an online place that sells them fairly cheaply.
Yeah.
So we've been building up our stock of wide shoes.
That's awesome. And so it's interesting. Inflation's the big topic nowadays. How does that impact what you're trying to do with finding shoes? That's got to impact it, I would think.
It's not ideal.
Yeah.
So especially now we're trying to buy only brand name shoes.
Yeah.
Obviously we are having to pay more.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think $17.50 for a pair of brand name shoes is bad.
No.
I challenge most people to go out and find them.
No.
In that game.
Yeah.
That's great.
So it definitely has gone up. I will say that shipping sometimes is a bigger problem. Costs of freighting in large quantities of shoes, we find that to be one of the big issues too.
Yeah, that's neat. I know that there will be listeners that are listening to this podcast, the show, seeing the posts where they're like, hey, I want to help. They'll give money to Drive for Life. They'll come on your website and they'll give money there. But also, I just got to believe there's people with knowledge of the shoe industry and maybe certain manufacturers that could help, because it's such a unique and such a great cause. So you're increasing the number of times you're doing this every year. In fact.
Yes. So since 2006, it's always been a fall distribution, a late summer, early fall, catching the kids when they go back to school. But when I started, we talked about the ways we could grow. So we talked about we could grow by going to middle schools. We could grow by going outside of Kalamazoo County. To be honest, I think most people agree the easiest thing often to do is to do the same thing, but more often.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to change what you do. So we decided to try a spring distribution, because kids in elementary school generally will grow 1 to 2 sizes a year. So we went back out to 10 schools in March and fitted 1,440 pairs of shoes in 5 days at 10 schools. And Gloria and I would see kids that we recognized their shoes, not the children, would recognize their shoes coming back in.
Yeah.
And even after 5-6 months, they were growing out of them.
Yeah.
They were not lasting because for many kids, unlike, maybe our children who have multiple pairs of shoes, for many of these children, that's their only pair of shoes. So if they don't have winter boots, that's all they're wearing.
Yeah.
All winter they're wearing.
They don't wear as well that way.
They don't.
Yeah.
So they were coming back in and we were fitting them again. And so we did 10 schools in March this year. And then next year, assuming we can find enough funding, we'll be doing something between 20 and 25 schools in March.
Wow. By the way, I want to correct you on something you said. You said sometimes it's easier to just do more of it. I don't think easier is the right word. I think probably more effective because now you're meeting it, and more efficient because you're meeting a need. Easy is not buying 6,500 shoes in a year. That's insane. You're also doing some neat things to make more people part of this and include others that maybe haven't been in the past.
Correct. I mean, Kalamazoo is a super diverse community, especially the Kalamazoo public school system. And we know that not all families check their kids' backpacks.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone reads the teachers' emails. Not everyone can be involved in their kids' education as much as maybe they would like. And so what we're finding is, like you said, lots of kids you would see in the school weren't getting shoes.
Right.
Because a caregiver does have to request the shoes. We don't just bring shoes for everybody. We would go under at that point.
Actually, that's sad because I would think some of the least engaged caregivers might put their kids at the most risk. So I love that you've discovered that as a need and you're seeking to meet that.
So we're trying to get out our information as many ways as we can through social media, increased marketing. We had an amazing marketing firm make us a video. They actually came to one of our schools and videoed what fitting day looks like.
Oh, neat.
So we can use that. So over the summer, we're going to be sharing our video with places that families go. Hopefully places like the health center, kidnap, places that we know that families go.
Yeah.
So they can see what it looks like. They can see what we do. They know that their kids are going to be treated with dignity, that we want them to be comfortable, that it's not something they should be embarrassed about asking for.
Yeah.
So we're trying really hard with our marketing to reach more families. And then we've been working hard, not me personally, because I only speak English and not always that well. So we've been working really hard with some of the other local organizations who work with families where English is second language to have our order forms translated into Farsi for some of the Afghan refugees and French for the Congolese population. We have a group right now who are working on translating our our poster, so that we can put that up in different community centers so people can actually see what we do in their own language.
Wow.
And last year actually in the spring this year, for the first time, we took out translators actually to fitting day to some of the schools which need different languages for their children. So in some of the KPS schools, they have first entry classrooms where kids go when they first come to America. And so we took out a translator that could speak to them so that they knew what we were doing, because it's really hard to do it in a second language.
That's incredible. Well, what an organization, what a vision, what a great thing that you're out in the world doing. 6,500 shoes this past year. Is that your record, or what is your record?
I honestly don't know. COVID kind of messed things up.
Yeah.
So I would say that's probably about as high as it's been.
Okay.
We're hoping that this year will be more.
Yeah.
Since we've already done nearly 1,500 pairs of shoes in March.
Yeah.
This year has to be more.
We would love to be there when you hit that 10,000 mark, because that's a big mark. Not only for you having to source those on your own, but then also setting up the fitting and making the impact. And we always talk at the Zeigler Auto Group. We talk about the ripple in the pond, the difference you make. And I can imagine the satisfaction only for you, but Matt and others who have given back through this way, like you're making a difference in a way that's difficult to fully trace, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
And to all of our listeners, hopefully you see this as a great cause like we do. You're inspired by it in a similar way. Again, contributing to Drive for Life, going to the First Day Shoe Fund website, and just reaching out and supporting Maggie and her team as best you can. Any closing thoughts, Maggie?
That would be great. If listening honestly is interested in getting more involved with us, we'd love to speak to you.
Yeah.
As well as money, we always have volunteer opportunities. We're always looking for people to spread our message, share our social media posts, just come and see what we do. We always welcome people at our building. Just learn more about us.
I know that there are people listening to this that are like, hey, I live in Cleveland, Ohio, or I live in Denver, Colorado. I want to do this here in my own town. Is this nationwide, or is it just here in Kalamazoo?
We're just here in Kalamazoo, but they are all over the country.
So there's a similar brand.
There are similar, lots of them stand alone. There are a few big national ones which go out into different schools. Not necessarily like us. We go to the same schools every year.
Yeah.
Some of these organizations, you can apply for them to come to your school. But I know we're here. There's one in Grand Rapids. I think there's one in Traverse City. I guarantee there's one in Detroit. But yeah, they are all over the country.
That's awesome. Well, Matt, before I give you the last word, I want to take issue with something you said earlier. You don't speak English well. You speak English better than any of us do. English is your first language, our second. We love your accent. We love the brightness that you bring every single time we get a chance to talk to you, and love the mission that you're engaged in, and just wish you all the success as you continue to buy these shoes and fit shoes to these kids. Matt, any closing?
It's amazing what you and Gloria do. And, on behalf of all the families you're impacting, thank you, because, we're just excited to come along and partner with you. We really are. But to see it firsthand and to see all the behind the scenes work that goes on between you and Gloria, it was amazing to go over to your facility and see how organized and just you think everything through. And I was blown away. So thank you. Thank you for allowing us to come and partner with you. It was a lot of fun.
A big thanks to First Day Shoe Fund for contributing to this week's episode. Until next week, how are you driving vision today?